Welcome to Trustee Talk. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and our guest today is Anderson Township Trustee Dee Stone. Dee, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And as we get into the summer months and start to enjoy the humidity and all the great things that go along with it.
Summer in Anderson Township, you can't beat it.
You can't beat it, for sure. And we've got lots to talk about today. And I guess let's start with, we've talked a lot over the last several sessions about the senior center and the progress that's being made there. And so where are we on that at this point?
Well, it's finally been resolved. So
Good.
I'm happy to say there's been a resolution. I think it's going to work great.
Great.
Yeah, our staff spent a lot of time because that came at us pretty much out of nowhere.
Well, yeah.
Senior Independence.
Yeah, you weren't expecting it.
Right. They've been running the senior center for us and then, sent us notice they were going to end their services as of August. So, we were scrambling. The seniors came out to one of our board meetings. It was the most packed board meeting. I mean, I haven't been on, as you know, I haven't been a trustee that long, but from what I've heard, it's one of the most packed board meetings we ever had.
Well, I can imagine because that's a huge population that you're serving, and that population continues to grow. And that center really has done a tremendous job in offering a lot of different services that all of a sudden were gone.
Right, we're threatened to be taken away. And some communities did actually just close their senior centers. So I'm very proud of us for, our staff for working through it. What's going to happen is the senior center will stay open. The Cincinnati Area Senior Services, CAS, they will continue to offer the congregate meals Monday through Friday where you can come in there and have a meal. They'll also do the Meals on Wheels, and they will also do transportation.
Oh, good.
So that will all stay in place. It may look a little different, but it will still be there.
Yeah.
And then we have owned the building all along, where the Anderson Senior Center is. The township owns that building. So what we did is we hired a couple part-time employees, and they were also employees under Senior Independence, so there'll be consistency. The seniors already know who these people are, so they'll be working there, running the programs for us. So we're hoping it'll be pretty seamless. I mean, some things may look a little different, but it's open, it'll be running the same as it has in the past. But we're also looking at partnering, and this is still in the works, but I don't know if you remember the old community ed program. Yeah, well, that used to be here, and that's kind of went away. That used to have classes in the schools. So we're talking to them about possibly, partnering and bringing them in and do classes then at the senior center in the evening.
Good.
So it could work out well to have additional programming.
Which would be great.
Which would be great.
And a lot of seniors probably would love that.
Well, right, and a lot of those programs, those are open to anyone, seniors and anyone in the community, and it's like, how to learn Excel or, how to learn PowerPoint or all kinds of cooking classes and yoga classes and, needlepoint classes. They have a whole variety of classes to offer. So I'm hoping that works out. We're talking to them now, but that'll be exciting if we can.
Well, it will be, because as you said, that'll open up a whole new chapter for what you're doing there. I mean, you're providing the basic services that you're going to continue to be able to do that. But a lot of seniors like and are challenged to want to learn something new, and that they've kind of put off and said, gee, I'd like to learn to do that. So, I mean, that could be great. I mean, and it would be open to anybody, so they could
it'll be open to, and actually the building will be utilized more because under Senior Independence, it was only open from 9 to 2, which will probably keep those hours, but, if we can keep the doors open longer because with these community ed classes, and people can, rent the building, rent rooms in the building for, activities, because we would love that, income to offset some of the costs. Like we're going to be paying CAS $45,000 a year to do the transportation and the congregate meals, and then we'll have the salaries of the part-time employees. So as a township, it's going to cost us a little bit more, so any more that we can offset by, rentals would be great. So
it would be, and the good thing is, I think the great thing is that you all, took step forward to keep it going, because it's the easiest thing to do is close it down and not have anything.
And we didn't want to. Our seniors, they've lived in the township for a long time, many of them, and They're a very valued segment of the
Well,
population,
they are.
and
And they deserve to have that kind of, at least, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of seniors, you know, I mean, are pretty, a lot of them are by themselves.
Right.
You know, their families have moved away or
right,
whatever, and maybe their spouse is gone, and so that's an opportunity they can go and network and socialize with
right,
with
exactly.
folks. I mean, to get out and to
Right,
do
and
something.
that's basically what they were telling us. This is our family.
It is,
These
yeah,
these
absolutely, it
are,
is.
you know, we don't have family in town.
Yeah.
This is our family, and isolating is never good. You know,
No.
you got to get out and socialize. That's what keeps people active and healthy.
It
I mean,
does.
there's studies that prove that. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, especially that. I think when they're left alone any length of time. I mean, I think they kind of crawl into a shell,
Right.
and I think that just speeds up their demise in many ways. So I
Right.
mean, the fact that you're all are going to do that, and it's a nice facility, easy to get to, and you kept the transportation piece going, which I think is.
Right. And that's
It's really
important.
critical, yeah.
That transportation is very important.
Yeah, because
so.
that's many of them are without.
Right.
Otherwise, they
Right.
have no alternative for that. So, well, congratulations.
Yes,
That's
thank
good
you.
news.
Yeah,
That's-
thank this Anderson Township staff. I mean, they did it all. They worked very hard to make this work.
Well, the turnaround was pretty good.
It was
I
was
mean,
fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it
it's,
was anyway, it was February, and by end of May it was resolved. So
well, and in the meantime, I know you kept some of that stuff moving anyway, or kept some of those services functioning.
right.
Just
Yeah. Oh
in-
yeah.
in the
It's
interim.
never. I mean, it's really going to be pretty seamless. So
Good.
there'll be maybe 3 or 4 days where it would be closed, where it normally wouldn't be open. But
Yeah.
it's going to work
Good
out
deal.
well.
Well, I'm happy that. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
for the seniors
Thank
because
you.
I am one.
Yeah. I guess I think I technically am now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when that happens.
I'm not
but-
sure when we become one. I don't feel like one at this point, but I know that somewhere along the line I'm becoming one. so
Right. As we all are.
I are one.
Yeah, that's
as I
right.
said. Another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit. I know that the comprehensive plan is in the process, and that I think there's a workshop in June that took place,
Right.
and so what's the process? Where are we on that progress-wise, and what's the next step after that?
Okay, well, as people left the comprehensive plan in June, we kind of tried to gauge who was at the big meeting. And we'd take that information and decide what group was underrepresented, and then we'll reach out to those groups and have smaller group meetings. Kind of the same format that it was at the big meeting. It's a type of format that can be done in a small group setting too, and get input from those people, and then we can move forward with the rest of the comprehensive plan. I mean, as you know, this is our third comprehensive plan. We did the original in 2005. It was updated in 2011, and then this is the 5-year 2016 update. Because we want to keep it current. You want to find out, okay, have we accomplished any of this? We look
Yeah.
at the plan. Is some of this been accomplished? Are things changing? Did we think, 10 years ago that this was important, and now it maybe not be so important? So, just to make sure we have our priorities in order. And then we will have a draft, so by probably end of July, I'm thinking, and then the community will be given an opportunity to review the draft and respond via an online survey to what they
good.
think, what they like, what they don't like. And then the final plan hopefully will be out early in the fall. But we really want people's input. If you did not get a chance to attend the large group meeting, get in touch with us, and we can maybe get you in one of these small groups, because this is basically the point of the comprehensive plan is, what do you want Anderson to look like in the next 20 years? I mean, this is your community. What do we want here? What's important to us?
How did they get in touch? I mean,
Well, there's a website. It's
website?
There's a subset of our own website. It takes you right to our website, but it's called AndersonTomorrow.org. So that's easy to remember.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
the future. AndersonTomorrow.org, and you can find more information there. So.
Well, I think that's a good thing for communities to do. I think a lot of communities that don't do it, I find themselves constantly kind of reconfiguring themselves as they go along, and that never really
Right.
works out well at all. And the fact that you all have gone into that process of a
Well,
comprehensive plan, and it gives you at least some direction and basis for decision making.
Oh, exactly.
Process
Exactly.
for you all.
Right.
And I guess interesting because I've kind of been involved in some of those in the past, which we spent eons studying and doing things, and then the plan is done and it gets printed and
Put on a shelf.
on a shelf.
Right. Right.
And then nobody looks at it again
Right.
until it's time for the next comprehensive plan. And I always wanted to say, did we do anything in that other comprehensive plan? Because I
Right.
don't remember that ever coming up for discussion. I mean, you've been through two now, I guess,
Right.
two plans. I mean, has it been helpful and
Right.
and constructive?
It has been, and as in the process of working on this one, I went back and read the 2011 plan, which that's online. People can go in if you want to know what has been our goal for the past 5 years as a basis for looking at this plan. It's really interesting to read that plan and find out where our focus is. And the consultant we hired to help us through this process, because it is a big process, they were very complimentary to the township for updating it every 5 years, because as you said, a lot of communities, they do it and then it sits on a shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have to use it as a basis for decision making.
do.
It's like,
You should.
if this is our plan, if this program or whatever doesn't really fit in that plan, then we probably don't want to do it. I
Right.
mean, we've already decided this is where we're heading. So,
Well, and I think the 5-year process is good because it forces you to revisit it.
right.
Because you're right, things change, people change, the world changes, and obviously things change here. So as you said, what might have been important 5 years ago in everybody's mind, suddenly you look at it today and go, well, it really isn't that important at
Right.
all. So
Right.
I think that's a good system, and it forces you really to revisit on a regular basis, which I think is good. But so that's good. So the new plan as such, after all the meetings, will probably be coming out
Early fall.
early fall.
Okay. Hopefully the final will be early fall.
Okay. So they'll have a chance to look at the initial, or at least the draft.
Right. I'm hoping by the end of July.
Okay. And then they'll
End
have
of July, 1st of August, hopefully.
Okay, so they have time, and then they can have input at that point? Or
Right. They can have input up until, at the draft, then they take the survey and, determine, is this something, yes,
Yeah.
Yes we want, or no we don't want.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Now, anybody really can have their input into it.
Yeah, I mean, via the survey, you can,
Yeah.
have some input that way.
Yeah.
But we would love to people, if you didn't get a chance to come to the big meeting, if you can come to these smaller groups, and we really want different segments of society represented, the seniors, the young people. I'm really encouraging young people to come. I have, I have 20-somethings, and I would love for them to move back to Anderson Township. So what's going to make them, what's going to attract them back here?
Well, and I think that's a big problem with all communities is holding on to their young people once they've reached the 20-something mark and go off. You see in many communities that they leave and don't really ever come back. I think Anderson's kind of one of those places, and I live on the other side of the river, but and I think over there too. I mean, it seems like that there's that generation after generation eventually ends up back where their roots were.
Right.
Only because it's such a great environment in which to raise families. School system over here is excellent. And so there's the incentive there that, good schools, good environment, and just a community that is actually always on the go and always growing. So, I mean, there's got to be a lot of, but you're right. I think it's important that if young people can take the time to. I mean, I think that they don't think much about that.
Right.
At this
No,
point.
they don't.
They don't think much
No,
beyond
they don't think beyond
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Right.
If
right.
they get that far.
That's right.
And so it's kind of like,
Right.
What do you mean 5 years? I mean,
10 years, I'm not going to be here.
I'm
It's
not
like,
gonna
well,
be, yeah.
yeah.
So, do the schools get involved in that at all with the
yeah,
young
actually,
people?
we do. We have someone on the administration staff. Or actually, this year it's the school district's treasurer. He's on our large steering committee, and then one of the school board members, Julie Bissinger's also on. And also, we have 2 people from the park district because those all play into it.
They do.
It's that collaboration that we've been talking about. Those groups, we want them represented in, like, does your plan fit in with the township's plan?
Yeah.
They all need to work together.
Yeah.
So,
Do they involve the students at all in any processes at the school level to sort of introduce them to the concept? Or?
We haven't really at this point, but that's a good idea. Because I have been reaching out personally to, since I've been so involved in the school, reaching out to the people that I know at the schools, inviting them to the bigger meetings and to the small groups. And I have mentioned to some of them that have the students to say, bring your students to this.
Yeah.
Invite them. We want to know what they want too. So.
Yeah, because I even think, that, of course, I know when I was in the ancient years, back in the dark ages, in school, we had civics classes
Right,
or
right.
whatever they called them. But we got involved, or we talked a lot about things happening in our community as part of those classes, and got us really kind of involved in the process and thinking, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be awesome. I don't know what they teach today or how they do it, but it seems to me, even in the classroom situation, to be able to or create some groups within the school of students.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
To get them. I think that's the biggest problem we have today, is getting young people involved in the government process as such. They just don't take time, or not interested, and yet they're the future.
They are the future.
And so it seems to me that if we can start to at least infiltrate their thinking, would be a good thing.
Right.
To be able to do that.
Well, I plan to have my 4 children attend, so.
Way to go.
I know, they'll have input at least. So.
Well, you know what,
yeah.
that's great. Well, I commend you all. I think that I'm a great believer in the plan system, and that you got to have some basis for decision making, and it's great that you got something that everybody's had some input in. They can't complain. Well, they can complain. God love them. They always do.
Right.
It's part of their nature. But the point is that at least they had a chance to have a say and input, and so it is. I think they take more ownership.
I agree.
When they are able to have that input, then they're more understanding maybe of when something happens, why it happened, or where it came from, and so good for you guys. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we're pleased
That's
to be doing
exciting.
it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be the trustee representative on the committee too, because I love this stuff. I love the big picture stuff.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
It is. It can be.
fun.
It can be frustrating. I was on OKI's board for many years, and of course they took on, the much broader scope of those things, and they could be sometimes wearing, very wearing.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think we accomplished a few things. I like to think we did
Well,
anyway.
exactly.
But I think in this case, with this community and the size of this community, it really, it's why I think this community has really grown and has been so successful. I think because you've got that kind of thinking going on all the time in this community. So congratulations on that.
The people that came before me had some foresight, which I really appreciate, because now we're seeing the benefits of that today.
Well, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
One other thing I know we want to talk about is I know that the heroin situation it continues to be just a huge issue. For all communities, everywhere.
For all communities, right.
And I know you all have been working very hard on it. We've talked, I know, with Andrew and also Josh about it. And we know that there's a forum that is being held in June.
Right.
and what kind of progress? That's one of those things where I think it's going to be so hard to really feel that we've had any kind of a impact. It's just so big in trying to get your arms around.
Right.
What's anything happening or
Well,
anything new on what's going on there?
Well, the forum, having the forum in our community, this was the second time, because we had one in 2015 also, and it's really education. It's like this affects us all, and it's in every community. I've
Yes.
recently gone to a regional Heroin forum that actually Josh Girth was heading up, and we had 3 different meetings, and it's every community in the greater Cincinnati area, Northern Kentucky, I think there was some from Indiana, Warren County, Butler County, every community was represented, and it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
a community to pretend like it's not there,
Yeah.
that's not true.
It touches everybody.
It touches everyone. It's touching us all. One of the things, obviously, prevention, treatment, that's all part of it. How does the addiction cycle start? I mean, everybody's, I'm sure, seen the stories on the nightly news about opiate addiction. That's a lot of it. Like you have a surgery and you get a prescription for pain pills, and then those are very addicting.
Yeah, they are.
Very, very addictive, and people need to be careful. I'm not saying, they serve a purpose, definitely,
Yeah.
but recently my daughter had her wisdom teeth out. And if I said, I only want her to have 5 pills.
Yeah.
I want her to get through this first couple of
Yeah.
days, and then that's it. I mean, because they would have written me a prescription for 30. Well,
Yeah,
I don't
and
want 30.
no,
I don't
no.
want 30 in my house. I think people do need to, look in your medicine cabinet, see what's there, because that's, where kids are getting them from their home
yeah.
medicine
Oh,
cabinet.
yeah.
Or they go into other people's houses and look in the medicine cabinet. If you don't need it, dispose of it. We have, the take back the
Yes,
drug
yeah,
things
yeah.
here in the township. We just had one in May, I think. But those are useful. I cleaned out my medicine cabinet, and because I'm so aware now, I'm like, what are we doing with all this stuff?
Yeah.
Just dispose of it. So that's one thing. Prevention, as I said, the education, I think it's just, we do such a good job in our schools of talking about, drug and alcohol prevention, which is great, but I think we tend to lump it all together. Heroin is its own.
It is. It's the worst. Yeah.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
One time can make the difference between life and death.
Well,
that's what's so scary about it.
That's what is scary about it, and unfortunately, and it's so easy, and their access to it
Right.
is just so easy anymore and it's it becomes and it happens to it can happen to any young person.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't make any difference.
Race, income
no,
level,
makes
social,
no
has
difference at all.
no difference.
Do you feel like we're making some progress?
Well, I think the the awareness will help. I think we do need more treatment centers, and there are resources out there. Injecthope.com. The township is going to be doing a Big Ten at Greater Anderson Days, which is July 29th, 30th, and 31st. We're going to have some materials and resources there. So people need to know where the resources are too. If
Well,
you
yeah.
do know someone that's suffering from a heroin addiction, there are resources out there. Should there be more treatment centers and more beds? I personally think so, because that's part of the problem is people decide, yes, I do want treatment, but we can't get you in a place for 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks is a long time if you're an addict.
That doesn't work. And then I think too that a critical piece of that whole thing, my experience has been that the follow-up is important also, not only to get the treatment, but a lot of times what happens, they go through the treatment process and then they go back out on the street, and without follow-up and without someone monitoring that, it's very easy for them to fall right back into what they'd had before, and that's where I think that is critical. And we don't seem to ever have enough money or have enough resources to make that happen, and I hope that's part of the process.
Right. And real quick, I want to give a plug to ACTV, because Shane has done a great job of doing programming for ACTV. He has 11 hours of information about It's a lot of personal stories from
Yeah.
heroin addicts, and you watch them, and it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
And I would encourage everyone to go online or you just watch it on your regular programming to see what's there, because it's very enlightening.
It really is, and I commend Shane too, because I was going to mention that if you hadn't. I mean, he's just worked very, very hard, but what he's accomplished, I think, has tremendous benefit if people will just
I
see. Because
agree.
when you look at the variety of people that he's talked to, you see how many lives it's touched and how it has affected those lives. And if you can, and these are real people. These are not, I mean, they're just, they're people that really
Yes.
have.
They're sons and daughters.
They are, and so that, I think, is where it really comes. If you can just realize that these people were like everybody else,
Right.
and went through this process. So
Right.
congratulations to Shane, because he's done a great
I
job.
agree, and I think there's some thinking out there. It's like, oh, what's wrong with those people? Why can't? It's an addiction. It's a disease.
It is.
And you can't just say, oh, I'm going to stop. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't work that
No,
way. It's
it
not
doesn't.
that easy.
We have a couple minutes left. I just, if somebody wants more information about what's happening, or knows someone that needs help, is there somewhere they can go?
Well, the injecthope.com, that's a great resource.
Okay.
That's an online resource. And like I said, at Greater Anderson Days, we're going to have a big tent there. You can come talk to people there. We'll have information and banners and flyers. And I've learned a lot. I'm happy to talk to people about it.
Good.
And so there are resources. Not enough, but they are out there. So
Well, they're getting more.
They're getting more, definitely.
It's a matter of just getting the resources to get it started. But
yeah.
but somewhere for some people to go, that's the case.
Yeah.
You know what? It's always great talking with you. I enjoy it so much.
Thank
I
you.
really do.
I feel the
I
same.
look forward to seeing you again, and we thank you for being here today. Thanks for all your service to Anderson Township, and you do it with such a pleasure. I mean, you're always smiling about it, which is,
I do like it. I enjoy
it. It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
We have some great things going on here.
Great to be you do, and
Yeah.
it's great to be a part of that.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. I look forward to seeing you the next time around.
Me
Meantime,
too.
have a good summer.
Thank you. You too.
Enjoy, and we'll see you at Anderson Days.
I will be there.
I'll be there for the talent show
Oh, there you go.
on the 29th and
Yes.
30th.
Yes.
So I'll look forward to that. We thank you for joining us and sharing your day with us, and we hope the rest of your day goes very well. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and on behalf of Shane Reinhardt, which we talked about earlier, who's our producer and director and our cameraman, our audio man, and he does other things which I don't even know what he does. We do invite you to join us again here on ACTV for our next edition of Trustee Talk, and our guest at that time will be Josh Girth. So we'll see you then.